the most evil thing I've ever seen in my lifetime, which is the lame duck administration leaving the next administration with the world war, with the nuclear conflict, by allowing Ukraine, a proxy state of the United States, to strike within Russia. I think that people in Washington misunderstand Vladimir Putin, and they think he's a monarch with absolute power, which is not true. And Russian politics is complex and it's lively, and Putin is very concerned with his approval rating within Russia. He cannot appear weak. That's a huge threat to him. He feels that, I can confirm. If he can't hide attacks on him by the United States through Ukraine, either on Moscow or big civilian casualties, I think he will have no choice, in his view, but to launch like a serious response against Ukraine or NATO countries or possibly the United States. It seems like the most reckless thing that's ever happened in my life.
For Joe Biden, or whoever's acting in his name, to do this just 2 weeks after the country resoundingly rejected governance by the Democratic Party in the administration, and on his way out as an 81-year-old man, knowing that he has about 6 weeks left in office, to just say, I know that these are massive risks, but I'm willing to take them. I'm 81. I don't really care. And then to make it so much more difficult for the following administration to do what they promised to do during the campaign, which the American people voted for and wanted, which is to resolve this war. Instead, we're risking escalation with the world's largest superpower, nuclear power, over what?
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. So, yeah, it's like what I've been saying for the past couple of days. I think the Democrats are metaphorically taking a dump on the dinner table. They are making as big and gross and nasty of a mess as they can before Donald Trump can walk into office. I mean, you know, Joe. We know Joe's not the one pulling the strings. These are just people putting papers in front of Joe and just saying, hey, do this, Joe. And he's just signing off on it. So he just recently signed off on the allowing of U.S.-made missiles to be launched into Russia from Ukraine. So again, this is them stirring the pot, trying to crap on the geopolitical stage before Donald Trump can take office and get this stuff calmed over. Because if Donald Trump's dealing with a war on effectively the Eastern Front, you know, guess what? He's not going to be paying attention.
Investigations for everything that's going on.
People aren't. Yeah, the news media is not going to be talking about the investigations going on to all the corrupt politics and politicians that he's going to be pursuing and investigating when he's going to drain the swamp. So they are trying to, again, crap on the dinner table, set off a hand grenade in the geopolitical world, so Donald Trump has a giant mess that he has to focus on over in a foreign country instead of here at home, taking care of the American people. Democrats do not have your best interest at heart. They never have. Especially not these ones in power right now. They really don't care about you. They want to obfuscate, hide, get rid of the blame that can be doled on them. They're hiding right now. They're doing this on purpose so the rest of us can suffer.
Yeah, that's how it really feels. And two, again, I go back to the whole, they're trying to make it to where Trump is completely focused on global politics versus inner politics of what was been going on, and so he can't go after the FBI and all of his political opponents that literally set him up and charged him with crimes that weren't really actually crimes, and to go after him. So that's what they're afraid of. So that's honestly like, it's literally like the Democratic Party is like, quick, start a world war so that way we don't have time to focus on what's going on with us.
Yep. So yeah, that's what's going on, folks. This is literally a dump on the dinner table that the Democrats are leaving for Donald Trump to clean up. It's not good. But God willing, you know, things will be calm because they know the real leader is getting ready to come into office, and that God willing, he will be able to smooth things over and keep our troops here and keep our problems insulated instead of global. You know, let the world deal with its own problems, and let's deal with the stuff going on here in the U.S. Let's get rid of all these corrupt politicians. Let's drain the swamp. Let's get justice for all the people who have been killed by illegal immigrants. Let's deport all the illegals. Let's do the stuff here that matters. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then we can worry about Ukraine and Russia and all that stuff later. Again, it's so sad, but this is the only play the Democrats have now.
Yeah.
Other than shadow campaigns and shadow puppetry going on in the background with the FBI and CIA trying to justify and stay alive, before they're all fired and thrown out on the street.
Exactly. So that's the big thing today. As you can see from the thumbnail, if you're not watching, I'll read it for you. It says Democrats launch World War III. And as you can see here from this video right here, I wish there was sound, but there is no sound because it's one of those security cameras in Ukraine. But it is a Russian ICBM rained down on, I will butcher these names, but Yashmash plant in Dnipropetrovsk, whatever, in Ukraine. And it's the first time these weapons have ever been used in war, and they're capable of flying more than 6,000 miles, and they are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. So this is Russia literally being like, "Hey, you fired on us. We're not playing around anymore."
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, that looks like the wrath of God
Yeah.
coming from the sky, y'all.
So-
Like, I mean, this is not a game. You know, politicians, like, again, this is why they say, whenever they were talking about who was Liz Cheney, he was complaining about, Donald Trump was talking about Liz Cheney should be the one facing the front lines. She should be out on the front lines if she's going to advocate for it. And they were like, he's talking about putting her up and lining her up for a firing squad for execution. Like, no, he was saying she should be on the front lines with the rifles aimed down at her and see if she would change her tune about being a war hawk.
Exactly. If she's going to advocate for war, she better be ready to go fight
Yeah,
it, or
if you're-
send her
yeah.
children
Yes.
to go fight it.
Send your children to go fight. Again, Chad and I, we have skin in the game now. Like, I mean, we are the people that will go if we are ordered to go. And like I said, you know, here am I, send me. But does it mean I want to go? Does it mean I want to leave my family? Does it mean I want to leave this great state? No. But I will go because that's what I am required to do. Mm-hmm. But again, do I want to go? Absolutely not. I don't want to go over there. I don't want to fight for one of the most corrupt governments that has ever been put to politics. I mean, Ukraine is a corrupt government. Like, there were articles written, like, literally 4 years ago, there were articles going, Ukraine's a really, really corrupt government. And it's like, then the war broke out. It's like, Ukraine is the greatest country that's ever lived. And if we lose Ukraine, we lose one of God's angels. You know, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, the same place that was writing the articles about how corrupt Ukraine was, saying that now they need to be saved at all cost.
Yes, 100%. But getting on to the next little bit, here is the, what is it called? European Parliament.
Yeah,
and they're doing a standing ovation for the approval of launching American missiles from Ukraine into Russia. If World War III were out there right now, they and their families would have to be on the front lines and find out. Do you agree? And I was like, I 100% agree. If you are, I honestly think that if you vote for war, if you're one of the people that vote for war, you have to sign you and your whole family up for selective service, or not selective service. You have to sign them up to go to war.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, a lot of these Democrats
Would
be
change their
changing their
tune real
tune.
quick. It's like, no, we'll
100%.
sacrifice the strong men and women, the ones who are brave, the ones who have skin in the game, who are going to go. It's like, well, they're just the right-leaning Trump supporter types. Like, and you wonder why we vote for strong leaders, because we know strong leaders won't be bullied into silly conflicts.
Yeah.
Weak leaders will be bullied into silly conflicts.
I mean, all the founding fathers were somehow directly or indirectly involved with going against the crown or fighting in battles. George Washington, our first president, was on the front lines leading men into battle. And now we have politicians that are, one, too old to go into battle, or women who don't have to go into battle if they don't want to. And this is the problem, is back in the day when we first started this government, people who were in these government positions had skin in the game, like, oh, I'm old enough to go.
Yeah,
I'm in the right age group. All these other politicians
our
are too
blood
old.
and treasure is on the line. All of our blood and treasure is on the line when we rebelled against the crown. Like, they had real skin in the game. Like, they could have all their wealth and they could be executed at the end of the war. But they won. But again, we live in a society where war is done from like, people play video games like, oh, this is war. You know, it's like Respawn. You know, that's the way I think of it. They think of lives as expendable. Like, you're just dumb soldiers. You're just dumb grunts. Just go out and do the job that you signed up to do. Nobody made you. You're right. Nobody made us do it. That doesn't mean we still want to be drawn into silly conflicts, though.
Let me go ahead and play this standing ovation with the sound so everyone can hear it. These people. These people are clapping for war.
All these countries were buying oil from Russia like 4 years ago, too. I mean, this is what Donald Trump went over there was criticizing them for. He's like, you know, why aren't you buying oil from the U.S.? Why are you buying oil from Russia, who is the only reason NATO exists? And now they're like, yay, Russia's put us in a chokehold, and now we're gonna fight. It's like, are you really gonna fight though? Like, I mean, like, again, the U.S. pays the lion's share of the NATO budget.
Yeah. Well, this next video I have queued up right now is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., like brilliantly summing up everything that's going on between Russia and Ukraine right now. So I'm just going to let him take it away unless you have anything you want to say
let's
before
watch it.
All right, here we go.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war that Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate,
Real quick. So again, when people talk about the cabal of elites that, make all the decision behind closed doors, that's BlackRock right now. That's BlackRock to a T. Like, BlackRock is an investment firm. And like I said, you have the people that run it, and then you have all the investors. And like I said, and again, BlackRock is, all their investments are phenomenal. Like, I mean, if you invested in BlackRock, and again, that's what's happening right now. People are like, well, I don't care if the company's moral or good. I'm just going to invest in this and my profits are just going to go straight up, sky high, because they're manufacturing problems. They're manufacturing outcomes because they don't care. They don't care. They want to be this money-making machine. They want to see the world shaped in the way that they want to see the world shaped. And they'll kill and destroy and start wars and conflicts to achieve that goal. Remember, BlackRock was invested, I think it was BlackRock invested something in Donald Trump rival companies right before the assassination attempt. So it's like the assassins, the shooters, both of the shooters were both in BlackRock commercials. I mean, does it mean correlation means causation? No, but I mean, that's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah, both of the shooters for Donald Trump.
And they invested in a company that, if Donald Trump had died, would have
definitely had the Ukrainian war being funded way more.
Yes, whatever shell company they invested into, like it would have had a skyrocketing portfolio if Donald Trump had been assassinated.
And you have to remember, we showed the video. I mean, the one young 18-year-old kid or whatever, he was just in a commercial for his school. Now, that's not necessarily, too much, but the other guy was literally in Ukraine, like trying to convince people
He was like over and fight.
Yeah, he was an advocate for trying to get people to come over and fight from places that spoke English. So he was like a transition person of
a recruiter.
A recruiter for people to come to Ukraine. It was insane. It's insane.
Yeah. So again, guys, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's. If you don't believe in conspiracies at this point, you must be dumb. Is the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
Because it's all connected somehow or another. It's all connected. But yeah,
the big joke of conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory is literally like only 6 months to a year to being true anymore.
Every conspiracy is 6 months to a year from being true. So yeah, you go ahead and continue.
All right, we'll do.
Ed, don't worry. It's not a gift to Ukraine. It's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, and black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
My God, that was profound. That was good. I mean, I like Robert F. Kennedy, man. He's a good dude. I don't think I agree with him on petroleum and oil, but you know, my goodness, that was an awesome speech. I mean, whoever edited that video together, fantastic job. Like, that was awesome. I mean, not just he was quoting Mitch McConnell, then it cut to Mitch McConnell giving that actual quote. Like, I mean, that was good job, whoever did that. Like, our hats off. And this is why we have this show. This is why we have the channel. We want y'all to see this. We want people to see this and be like, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, what a reasonable take. Remember, RFK is a Democrat. He is not a Republican. Now he's an independent because he left the Democratic Party, and he's going to be on Trump's transition team.
We're talking about the ultimate Democrat here.
Yeah, we're talking about political royalty in America. Yeah. The Kennedys.
Yeah, the Kennedys are the Kennedy family is the closest thing we have to royalty in the United States right now.
So again, if you disagree with anything he just said there, I question your sanity. I question your good nature. I mean, if you disagree with him, you're just a war hawk and you don't care about human lives, you know, and the ends justify the means.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that we could partially talk about is the fact that some power lines, underwater power lines got severed in Ukraine.
Yeah, and a Chinese ship is what they're thinking did it. So
I don't have the article pulled up, but this actually happened. We saw it this morning when we were listening to some more news, and holy crap. I mean, that's the first thing anybody knows in a war: sever the communications. Sever the communications. And the scariest part about this is China did it. It was these Chinese vessels that did it. So it means that Russia and China are, if this wasn't an accident, are in cahoots together. And two, again, severing communications is key. If you can't communicate with your troops, nothing's going to happen.
They didn't have to just be with troops, just with the chain of command, with communication in general. One day, again, it's like people think like the Civil War. People think it's going to be fought like the Civil War. We're going to be walking in lines straight at each other and just shooting. That's not what it's going to be. One day, you're going to wake up. The power's not going to be working. You're not going to have phone service. That's what war looks like.
Yep.
Like, how come I don't have phone service? How come the power's not working?
Yep. That's war.
And then you won't even know there's a war going on until you hear an explosion outside.
That was the purpose of all the bombings in World War II, was destroying the infrastructure so the Germans could not attack us anymore. They couldn't make tanks, boats, whatever, and
they
weapons,
couldn't communicate.
and they couldn't use roads and highways to come at us and attack. That's the whole point of strategic bombing, is destroying key infrastructure points.
Yeah, power plants, everything. You want to make life hell for people that are in the are in the combat zone. You want to destroy the morale of people in those areas.
If you can't feed your troops, you can't get food to your troops, they're not going to fight for you for much longer.
Again, Vicksburg fell not because they couldn't hold Vicksburg. They starved out the town. There were women and children eating rats. What do you think soldiers who are holding the line, Confederate soldiers holding the line, seeing women and children surviving off rats and dehydrating because they dammed up all the creeks? And they couldn't go and get the water from the mighty Mississippi because
they'd shoot at them.
They'd open fire. So that is what war is. War is demoralizing your enemy into submission.
Mm-hmm. And, they even talk about it. I remember we read about it, and it's talked about how when they finally surrendered, all the soldiers that came in to, accept the surrender were handing
out
off their rations
personal
to the
rations.
people.
The Union troops were giving their rations to the people in town because they knew how long and how hard they held out, and they knew, and they could see their gaunt faces. Like, these people are starving. Hell, I mean, dude, being a soldier, like just going out in the field and forgetting to bring a snack with you. You're like, man, I'm starving right now. I'm moving. We're working. Like, it's a lot of energy you're burning while you're out there doing training. Mm-hmm. So imagine doing that, but it's weeks and weeks on end. And it's not just troops, it's women and children. That's how you win. It's demoralization.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else do you got for us?
I mean, I've got these other ones that, you sent me, or technically, that Mother sent us. But,
Yes,
I can play these. I don't know how long they are, but we can watch them.
They can't be more than a minute long.
All right, here we go.
Do these assholes want a war? Do they want your kids and your grandkids to go fight in Europe for a country we have no real connection to? Not a NATO partner, not a true ally? Seriously, what are they doing? These people are out of their fucking minds. Trying to get you killed, me killed, and trying to get World War III started before Joe Biden gets kicked out of office. This is completely unacceptable, completely out of line. These people have clearly lost their fucking minds. Ukraine just lobbed American missiles.
There you go. I mean,
I'm not surprising.
Couldn't said it better myself. That was well said. Just said in a very angry way.
Yeah. Next one here.
At all, because this is frankly devastating for President Biden. On top of more U.S. bank failures over the weekend, Friday into Saturday. On top of a brand new poll that just came out showing this weekend that the lowest approval rating for any president in 70 years. This is separate from all of that. So this drama kicked into high gear over the weekend, and we're watching it very closely between Russia and the United States. This is a direct economic war right now between the U.S. and Russia, not through some proxy. This is between these two countries. And economists that I've spoken to over the weekend have said that Biden thought...
Pause this for just a second, but just going back to Obama making fun of Romney. So they said, Russia called, the 50s called, they want their foreign policy back. We're literally in an economic Cold War with Russia right
I know,
now.
Defiant L's, you need to grab that clip of Obama criticizing Romney saying... the 1950s called and they want their foreign policy back, because that could be the greatest defiant L's of all time.
Same with Tina Fey with Sarah Palin.
She's from my backyard.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I said the boogeyman now is Russia with the left. Everything about the left is terrified of Russia.
And it's so weird because, remember, there were Russian plants, communist plants, and how sympathetic are Democrats, and have Democrats always been to communism? It's crazy that now... They used to love Russia. Now they don't want anything to do with Russia.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get back to this video. But terrifying that I think they're going to say that Russia pulled all their money out of these banks here in the United States.
Yeah, they froze those assets. They took almost $1 billion.
Putin would likely back down on this, that he was bluffing. Well, he didn't. Putin has just done something that no one on earth has dared to do. They seized $500 million from the largest U.S. bank on earth, JP Morgan. And on this Monday, we're about to see things spiraling out of control. How much more assets will be taken from U.S. banks in this back and forth right now? This is basically Putin saying, we're done. We're not going to be bullied by the U.S. anymore. This is BS. This is basically de-dollarization on steroids right now. And it also comes in response to what Biden did last week. That, of course, got no coverage in the mainstream press. Congress approved the I call it the Repo Ukrainian Act. The Repo Act. Most attention, of course, was on the $61 billion in weapons and aid to Ukraine, but the Repo Act is arguably more important and is really a declaration of war directly against Russia. We have some breaking news that we're watching on this Monday that...
Wow.
Again, what are we doing here, guys? This war is not going to be like any other war. It's not like going into Iraq or Afghanistan where it's going to be like we have the superior technology. We have a superior fighting force, a better trained fighting force. This will be equal technology versus equal technology. This will be a war like we've never seen. All war, war never changes, but technology does. You saw those missiles that we showed earlier, just like they were falling from the sky. Like it looked like Sodom and Gomorrah, like just the fire and brimstone coming from the sky, destroying the city. It's like that's the technology we've come so far. Technology has come so far. You put a small platoon like I've got, like I'm in charge of. It's like, hey, we're gone. Like that rocket, like, I mean, we might as well not even been there. In fact, we never were there. We're just dust on the ground. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So people need to stop goading this. The Democrats need to, whatever they're doing, they need to stop now. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Let Trump and his transition team just take over and handle it from here.
Yep. That's really all I've got for today's show, man. I mean, it's crazy. We're in a crazy times right now.
Yeah, did you want to show that little meme you had there?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's been up like practically this whole time, but I'll
Oh, okay.
transition back to it real quick. But yeah, if you can see it, it's a huge dust storm coming in with the Doge dog being part of the storm, and then of course it's the town, and it says Biden starting World War III is this massive dust bowl storm, and then it says over here the town people recording themselves ugly crying over the election.
Yeah, silliness. Do you have any more?
No, that's really it. I didn't really have much for the day because I was trying to focus on all the Russia-Ukraine stuff today, so I don't really have that many funny memes today.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs going on right now. Like I said, again, look at it this way: it's the Democrats' last Hail Mary attempt to sabotage Donald Trump coming into office. They're literally taking a huge dump on the dinner table of the White House, throwing a hand grenade in the world of geopolitics, and just saying, "Deal with it. Your problem now, Mr. President. You embarrassed us for, what, 8+ years now, and you weren't even the president the last 4, and you still embarrassed us. We tried every dirty political trick in the book, and we tried new stuff that's never been tried before, unconstitutional stuff, to try to get you off the ballot. And now, because we're so angry, we're going to attempt to start World War III, because we're just so angry that someone like Donald Trump could come back into power.
100%.
With all of the power. Again, this is the collapse of the media apparatus. I mean, they thought, the cultural elites through BlackRock and whatnot, they thought they had such power and such control over what we consume, the news, like the internet. Thank God for the internet, you know. Thank God for people being able to just Google search things like that, you know, like, I know Google's put 60% or 70% positive stuff towards Democrats and left-leaning crap, but if you're able to parse through the pages, you can find the truth, and you can get to the truth. So that's what's going on now. People are waking up. People are sick. The majority of the population spoke, and everyone said, we want to focus on things here at home. We want to be able to afford houses. We want cheaper food, cheaper energy. We want to focus on the problems here, not abroad. So let's quit playing dumb, quit letting Democrats poison the well, crap on the dinner table. But yeah, so again, this is just that last Hail Mary attempt, and I'm positive for what's coming in the future. I'm just going to stay positive, and I'm going to say what Patrick Bet-David said. I think the future looks bright, and I think with Donald Trump coming in, he's got nothing to lose. He's not going to run another term. He can't. So he's going to come in, and with Elon Musk, I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at it all, and I think they're going to get a lot of these problems solved. So I'm optimistic, folks. I'm not scared. I'm optimistic. So with that being said, this is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, above all else, God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
Oh my God. Shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! My house is full of shit! He's shit!